Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good enough. So the only people that we're missing at this point, I think it's just Rich. Is that correct? 7. There should be 7 total, and I think I see 6 of us. Okay. Cecily, do you know Tim?
No, I have never met. Hello, Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now, Tim, what's your address?
Physical or email?
No, your home address.
108 Dorset Lane.
Oh, you are a neighbor.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you're on. Okay.
he's right next to Dave.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. Good to know.
Where
to
are
meet
you?
Wow. I'm at 93 Devonshire. I'm across from Lori Lodge with the big rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Good.
I walk by there all the time.
I'm sure I'm waving to you when we're out in the garden.
All right, just a couple of comments. One of the things that I found that hadn't been done in a long, long time was clearing the brush in the area from the outdoor classroom down to the outhouse down there by the pine trees. And so I've been working on that. And then I had Rich's wife, Liz, and a friend of hers, Jody, help start stacking the brush that was down. We also started picking up all the branches that had come down from different storms over the last half a dozen years or so. So if you haven't been through there, it's going to look a little different. The thing that needs to still be done is the cutting up of the trees that came down. Dave did a nice job cutting through 3 of the big ones there, I guess, Dave, so that there won't be so difficult cutting them up from this point on, I guess. So that was great. That was a big help. Rich isn't here to give us the monthly report on from the Cone Pond Trail, but I'm pretty confident that it's been covered. So now we have 2 people that are going to be working on that. We have the Lodge family, and we have also Cecily, who's been doing it as well. Cecily, I saw Nick today. He was out jogging, and he said, you can do it anytime you want. But I said that primarily you were responsible for the last 2 weeks of
Sure.
the month. So you can put in extra ones if you so wish. That's fine. But as long as we get 4 weeks covered, that would help
Yeah.
us with the state. So
I think we're going to be more than covered between all of us, right? Yeah.
No, I feel much better. I can sleep better now, knowing that we have more help taking care of that. The next thing is the playscape, and the date on my agenda was crazy, but Jason, I think it was November 12th we opened up officially. Is that correct?
It's a little before then. It was October something. It was right before Halloween.
Well, yeah, what I'm thinking of is the ribbon cutting.
But geez, I think that was just the last week of October.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyways, what are your feelings about the thing, the playscape at this point?
So first off, it's beautiful. The thing is stunning, and the families are just flocking there. It's really beautiful to see all these kids doing exactly what they're supposed to, in this giant structure that draws them in, and then they go and play further in the woods. And they're doing all the things you'd hope they would. I mean, they don't just stay at that structure. They go further back. They're bringing their families. The families are then bringing bikes or are hiking, and they're talking, with the other locals. So it's doing that building community thing that we'd envisioned. I'm a perfectionist, so I see the things that didn't come out as perfect. I'm a little frustrated with the way they put that path in at the end, because they cut off a few parking spaces. And also they kind of made it, I heard this feedback from somebody who, I observe things, but then I hear about it from other people. And they said that, because of the way that path runs out into the street, that kids will come flying out and then there's like cars everywhere. So I think that it wasn't so thoughtful, the way that was put in. And I brought that up with Scott at the end, and he gave the indication that, that we would revisit it when we revisit parking, but to kind of close out the deal with the builder. So I mean, the good is 95%, that it's incredible, it's doing everything it's supposed to. But the thorn is just that one little thing. And I think it also opens up the other concerns with parking is an issue, and we've talked about that before. But I don't know that has to change right away. I just think that safety is always going to be the number one thing, and I'm not sure that we have that where it needs to be with
I'm
that.
sorry, what did you say is number one?
Safety, I think the safety of, if the kids are running out into the lot, because that ramp is running out, kind of not the way that it was planned to be,
Well,
then it is a concern to me. So I don't think that that's complete.
well, do we have in the works a fence to be put along the edge there?
We did, and then they ended up, like, the way that thing set up, it kind of like made it so you didn't need a fence. And the place that could be fenced is exactly where they put the path out of. So I think that what needs to happen is that we have to look at it with, a broad vision of what parking is going to be. And now that we have winter upon us, it's not as busy. I think that you have until spring to like make a plan and figure it out. But if they're telling if we're going away from the builder and saying, don't bring this on the builder, this is us, we'll fix it, then we should try to fix it. In my mind, I just think that we have a safety issue with that.
Well, what's wrong with putting up a fence that would have a gate to it where the kids are going to go through the gate to get inside?
So I guess I'm open to all considerations. I'm not blocking out any ideas, but I think it's just going to take a commitment of who's going to do what. And I think it's, that's a Scott and a town thing to commit to something. I was ready to kind of put it on the builder and say, hey, this is not what we asked for. This is different. We need to fix it. And he said, no, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. So this is Scott saying, no, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. So, I mean, I just don't think we're done yet. I think that's the thing that's still not there yet. So work is never done.
Okay.
So did the builder know the expectations when he started with regards to the entrance and exit?
Yeah, actually, I was incredibly clear with him. And I called him midway through, and I was not happy with, he had changed the plans because apparently like there was like a leveling issue where they hadn't calculated the slope of the land right. And so I called him when he sent these plans and I said, look, that's not going to work. You're putting a ramp right into the middle of the parking lot. So I said, you got to wrap it around and you need the grade so that it's handicap accessible, but not into the parking lot. And they didn't quite get it right. We actually paid extra money to get the ramp in, because when we had that ramp set in, it was clear that the handicap accessibility of the thing is really just phenomenal. And I think that's one of the things that makes it stand out, is that that's a really great place for kids who don't have a lot of other options to go play on something like that. So we took whatever money we had left in the tank to put in to building the accessible path that goes to the back area, but also that goes up to the site. I extended that whole thing. Cost us about $4,000 to do it. And that's when the plans didn't get executed as, were laid out. So I'm kind of a middleman here, clearly. And I just think that has to be done. completely.
Is Scott going to find the money to do that?
He seems to think the town guys are just going to do it.
Would
What
it
if we paid
be
for
kind
it?
of an urgent thing? I mean, I really, safety is paramount. We're gonna have so many kids playing there this fall. It needs to be taken care of like right away, if you ask me.
Yeah,
All
Judge,
right.
I think we need to maybe snap some pictures of kids in action there, showing just how they come off of it. And maybe he needs to see the actual activity of kids coming through there so that it means a little bit more and the safety part can be pushed a little harder. I mean, I'm willing to work with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that we're not quite done yet, and it seems like it's better to do it now when it's brand new and the contract is still fresh. I in the beginning I told him don't even pay him the final payment until we get this straightened out.
It seems like the builder owes us to deliver a safe park. If he made changes that made it unsafe, it's upon him to do it, I think.
Did we already pay him in full?
Yeah, I believe Scott did. Yeah.
But even if
We're,
he is
we're,
paid,
it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
He's not going to come back.
no, probably not. But we
No.
need to address it as a town. I don't think we should have a park.
Yeah, Scott's got
That's not safe.
to get on it. Yeah, we can't have something that's not safe. So we got to get Scott on that right away, somehow.
I think we need some pictures of kids actually in that area and with what it's doing to help fight our case.
So I mean, how is it? I think it's incredible, but I still worry about that stuff, and I don't think we're done. I think there's more to do, and maybe the right angle is to address him after this meeting and say, hey, this is what's going on. And I definitely get frustrated when nothing happens. It's a slow process. So I don't know what the next step would be if it doesn't, but all we can do is make recommendations. That's kind of what we do.
Do you think we can put some cones up in the meantime?
Maybe a sign, to be honest with you, and maybe that's the best thing that they can do right now is just to put up a sign that says, beware of traffic. Parents take notice, something like that.
Yeah, but they're kids.
Mhm.
Kids running down the ramp they're not gonna look at a sign.
Yeah, I don't know how many 4-year-olds are reading the signs either.
Yeah, as they're flying past.
Well, if they're coming off the display and they're running to their parents and the parents are standing someplace that's not safe, that isn't going to help.
Or they see their friend pulling into the parking lot, getting out of the car, and they race off, to find their friend who's just arrived.
So I think the next thing to do is now that we've addressed it, like between us, I think that I should bring it up again with him and say that this came up as a concern at our meeting and that we want to see steps taken, whether that's something that we pursue with the builder or pursue through the town.
Yeah.
But it's like a concern that we aren't settled about.
Well, it's an
It's-
urgency. I would say it's an urgency on the part of this committee, right?
It's a liability to the town.
That too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He needs to do something temporary just to
If
start
not,
with.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
get some sort of temporary barrier over there to segregate that part of the parking
Yeah, there's
lot.
also not a sign of who can go on it.
hmm
And I don't know who's asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, because every park should have rules, right? About age limit and dogs.
I put up a
And
sign that
COVID.
has on, right, request to wear masks and to social distance
Uh-huh.
and to clean up trash. Because that's what I see. That's to me, I don't want my kids having to navigate that without guidance.
Mhm.
Okay,
So-
anything more we want to add to this? I think, Jason, you got some good ideas there.
So
Well,
I just,
Jason, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I know you're a perfectionist, but you can't foresee everything. You did foresee this. The guy he didn't do what he was supposed to do. Obviously we have to fix it. Scott shouldn't have signed off on it. That's not on you.
no. When did he sign off on it? When did he pay?
Well, the opening was right before Halloween, so I'm sure it was right around Halloween.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Trail work, inspection of all single track trails and removal of trees. Dave, why don't you bring us up to date on what you've been doing?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I think Jason's actually cleared more than I did. There were just a couple of trees that came down in one of those storms, and somebody temporarily did it. I just went in there and kind of cleared the rest of it. It was just those two big trees on Beeline
Okay.
before you get to the outhouse, that area. So, and then right after you cross over where like the mounds and stuff are, there was another tree that had been partially cleared. So
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate all that because that one that you cleared on Beeline was nasty.
it's
And,
the one that was kind of hanging there.
yeah, it was gross. I actually left that for a long time because I thought the risk was too high of cutting it. And then it finally came down, and I went to clear it one day, and then I got there and it was clear. So that
Cool.
was
I like those kinds of surprises. That happened for me too.
I was actually just thinking to myself as I was going through there this weekend how nice it was because everything was clear. We've been working hard at it, and then we got a windstorm last night.
I think we're okay.
There's one
Because
down on Goat Boy.
Yeah, I was up there today, and I didn't see any more stuff come down, so I'm hoping that the trails are all right. We'll find out as people start riding.
we last night we were actually watching the storm as it came through, and our area passed right between two storms. So it was like an alleyway between the two big red blobs.
Wow.
So
It was still pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a storm. Dave, my partner Rich loves his chainsaw, and if you want a buddy, like some of the bigger stuff,
okay.
yeah, call him, call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich was on one of the hikes with me, probably almost in 2003 or so, because I got a telephone number with his name on it from back there when.
Hi, Rich. I
Yeah,
don't think so. He wasn't in Madison until like 3.5 years ago.
I'll see if I can find it.
Okay.
All right. So Jason, what did you do? You rode your bike on all of the trails, the single track trails?
Yeah, over 2 different days, I touched them all just recently.
Wow.
They're all in good shape.
Okay, that's great. Okay, we have something here about rules subcommittee, rules for Rockland Preserve. There were originally rules written back when we opened up around 2001, 2002. You've looked at those, right?
Yeah, I actually reposted that in an email just within the past half hour or so. And so there was an incident where there was somebody in there just setting up at night, getting ready to go in with lights on their e-bike.
Oh,
Like, basically a motorcycle, according to the definition that the town has given us. So I don't want to be confrontational, but what I did do is I took a picture. The guy going off with his lights, took a picture of his license plate, took a picture of his phone number on his truck and then found his personal information on Facebook. Kind of like, here it is, you know, let's see what you do with it. Send it over to Scott, and there was no action. So I wonder, you know, there's just so many people using it, and I don't know where the rules stop and end, but I think it's our job to keep on like enforcement, or at least recognition of them. So I did go over those rules, and I was thinking maybe we should make a subgroup, because it was since 2001 that those rules were written, which is a long time ago. But you're all welcome to look at the rules. I kind of like them. I think that they were written thoughtfully. I still think they're relevant. It is called the Braymore property in the bylaws, which can be confusing because maybe people don't understand Braymore is Rockland. And then there's fines recommended of up to $100, and enforcement. I've been here for quite a while. I've never seen anything enforced. And I don't know.
Actually, there, in the years that I've been hiking in there, we've come across a number of like motorized vehicles and campers. And every time I've called the Madison police, they are there. They are there so fast. So,
Call the police.
oh yeah, the non-emergency line, and they're right there every time. I think we've probably done it, I don't know, 5, 6 times for different reasons over the years. They're great.
Maybe that's the right thing to do.
Hmm?
Maybe that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's not an emergency. And I'm like, so in fact, I was in there, I guess it was late spring or summer anyway. There were 3 kids camping right by Cone's Pond with a fire next to the woods, like butting up on the leaves. And they were cooking breakfast. Anyway, I called, I think by the time we came back, they were gone. I mean, it was such a hazard. Yeah, they're great.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to get in big trouble, but we can't let that happen either. And it was very dangerous.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think the rules are well written and thoughtful. I think that if there is punishment, it seems appropriate. But I just don't know where to start with that. Maybe we do call if we see something. There's just so many people there now, and more than ever.
Well, I do think, and it's interesting because as you were speaking, I'm thinking here, just a little telephone call to the police department, waiting for the guy to come out of the woods, would have fixed his wagon for good.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I think that's something that we have as really a responsibility to consider things of this sort. When we started, Lori, back in 2001 and such, there was somebody living in that house there that was a lawyer right there where.
Oh, yeah, Parks. Yeah,
Bill Parks.
yeah.
And I gave him the responsibility to come up with the laws, and regulations of what we considered prohibitive acts. And he worked with town attorney. And I believe that's how you have this section 14.77 prohibited acts. There are 10 of them. And then there below that is section 14.78 penalties for violations. And there's no dollar figure given there, but I have found that $100 is basically what they're saying the fine shall be for violating any of these. And it's interesting because the first 3, and they're probably on your list, Jason, is entering and remaining on the property after dark, half hour after sunset. That one gets violated. The operation of any motorized vehicle, including ATVs, motorcycles, and snowmobiles. That's number 2. And number 3 is the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances. I suspect that there's probably, after some of those long rides, some of the guys are sitting around having a beer or 2. But those, but the rest of them,
I will say that I have been guilty of that, so don't find me $100.
You shouldn't have said it on this call.
Now you're in
We're
trouble.
recording this.
but, the rest of them are, firearms and setting fires and dumping and disposal of litter and cutting trees and shrubs and taking plants. That's all good stuff. I'm willing to have this looked at again. Maybe there are some things that are important now that should be added to the list. But I think the thing that you're looking for is, the list is one thing, but the enforcement is the most important part now.
Right.
And there's also the consideration that like the sign as it's posted is just a tiny little sign that you probably wouldn't even, Joe, I don't even think you knew it was there. It's underneath the map, but like it's almost knee level.
Yeah. Right, and if you go to Renee's Way, it's up on top of a tree about 12 feet up. Right at the gate. The other day, I clipped a couple branches off it so you could see it a little better. But you're right. No, let's start you want a subcommittee? Let's do one.
Yeah, so I want to bring it. I think to do a review in 20 years seems reasonable.
So here's the other thing that we need to do. I didn't realize that when we officially changed the name and went before the town for that name change, that the bylaws didn't also get changed and updated at that time. So, I mean, it doesn't even reflect who we are now, right? With regards to the name. It should be the Rockland Preserve, formerly known as the Braymore property. Something to that effect.
What I'm going to do is, and Jason, I don't know, did you take a picture of the sign?
Yeah, I did.
Because I'm wondering how it's addressed on the sign. If it's addressed as Braymore or Rockland Preserve.
I'll check right now. In the online bylaws, it is Braymore, and on this sign, there is no indication of either Braymore or Rockland.
Okay. Well, we should get that changed. All right.
So does anyone want to join me and look at
I will.
these again?
All right.
I will.
I have a full plate.
Lori, yeah, I wouldn't let you take anything else on.
We don't need everybody, but who has said yes?
Tim,
Cecily?
otherwise known as David Okamoto.
You can change that,
Oh.
All right, so you got two people, and I certainly will help you out if you need some more help. And if you got somebody from the community that you think you want to involve, that'd be good too. Rich might be worth thinking about because he's a lawyer himself.
Oh, that's a great idea. I was thinking we would do well to have a lawyer look at it and beyond that.
Yeah, so I'll see if he's interested. All right, I decided that I would wait until our January meeting to ask people to sign up for the monthly inspections of the, this is different than just doing Cone Pond Trail. This is looking at the rest of the property, and it's all on the worksheet that we have for that. So I'll get that together and we'll do that. That next meeting will be January 18th. That's a Monday. It'll be at 7:30, and more than likely it'll be a Zoom meeting. But what I did want to, I sent it to you yesterday, I believe, was the Rockland Preserve Goals and Projects 2020. I think we looked at it a little bit last meeting, just for a few minutes. Is there anything that I left out that should be added to the list?
Parking lot expansion,
Say that
So-
again?
the Route 79 parking lot expansion or modification.
But these are goals that were accomplished this year.
Okay,
That's going to go on our list for 2021.
got it.
Okay, so yeah, that we don't want that to go away.
And you put on the work we did with the fire company?
Let's see.
It is, it's under other, it's the last point. So what about the Phragmites? You worked on the auto,
Jason, but I put it on, I think today or yesterday. The
Okay.
now, I held 2 rescue drills at Rockland with Jason in attendance in order to maintain close communication and contact so the fire department and the Rockland committee can improve and maintain the necessary services being provided and work on road conditions, especially after recent hurricane, which blocked entry to Old Crooked Hill Road.
That's great.
Everything else okay?
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just asking the question about the Phragmites. This year they worked on the olive, and I see the Phragmites are really coming back with a vengeance. Is that something that will be looked at?
I'm going to put back on the list both the autumn olive, because Scott has offered to get Dave, oh no, I can't think of his last name.
Roach, Dave Roach.
Yes, he's Dave Roach is, that's what his livelihood is. He's a habitat person. And he's done work for us in the past, and he's done work for the town at other properties. But he's also helped with Phragmites, so both of them. So that would be a twin project right there to work on both. We cut down the Phragmites some years ago, but they have come back again, and they're just a very difficult thing to get rid of, as is the autumn olive. But I think the autumn olive is easier than the Phragmites.
Is it easier for them to work on that when the water table is lower? I mean, it's been quite a bit higher now, but
Yeah, he knows exactly what months to go after the Phragmites in terms of its pollinating and all of that kind of stuff, and the fact that he needs to get deep into the root system. So I would leave that to his best. If you go in there and you use some kind of thing to cut the Phragmites down, then you don't want it with your feet getting wet. So you wait for it to be assumed dry. I don't know if that's necessarily the best time to then soak it with some kind of pesticide. He has the right kind of pesticide, because I remember that's supposedly water authority water.
Yeah, I'd be really concerned. That's such important frog habitat. I mean, is he watching that when he uses pesticides and stuff?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. And he's done a lot of work for the state on highways and other projects. So I trust.
He's using herbicide, not pesticide, right?
Herbicide, yeah,
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're right.
I'm very, very interested in invasives and controlling them. And I would love to see us reclaim that whole area around the pond, especially where it's been disturbed. I know that's where the autumn olive is, and there's multiflora rose there. Is there someone spearheading that invasive thing in Rockland? Because I'd be glad to kind of take
You
it
are,
on.
yeah. Dave worked with me on doing some of the spraying and cutting back and doing all that kind of stuff. But we really are waiting to see if we're really going to get Dave Roach involved. If he doesn't, then it's us. So definitely your help would be most necessary here. I'd like to see If we could clear it down, I'd like to see us plant every 10 feet a small white pine and see if we could get some white pine to grow along the edge there for, 200-300 feet. It would really,
Absolutely. Yeah, pine is so important for the bird habitat and coverage. And I would love to see, we've got a unique spot there with a lot of sun. I would like to see trying to get some more of the native, the pollinator plants, get some more milkweed going there. That could be an amazing pollinator habitat. That's something that Rich and I did in our own yard this year. We installed about, I don't know, at least 100 native plants that go across the calendar from blooming very early to very late, so that you've got a succession of blooms. And absolutely, having a backdrop of evergreens is important. You want a real mix of natives to cover all those bases. So it feels like once we got rid of all those invasives, because that's just taken over that huge
right.
area by where would it be? It's like the east side of the pond, I guess, east, kind of northeast.
Northeast side, yeah.
Where it was so disturbed from all that activity with the building. And that's why all the invasives have come in there. Once we get that out, we've got a blank canvas to do something spectacular, really, that's all natural, that could really attract a lot of birds, native birds and pollinators, and, restore it, and then get rid of that darn Phragmites and get in some, native pond plants there. Really, it could be such a jewel.
You might want to take a sheet of paper and mark out where you want certain things to be placed along the line.
I would love it. I
Okay,
would love it. Yeah.
sounds good. All right. Anything else? Any others?
A couple of things, Joe, is you want to include in that the repair work that was done on the dam that's underneath the Boy Scout Bridge.
Yeah, that should go in there too. Okay. Dave, send me just like 2 lines so I have a
Okay.
reporting as it is.
And then the other thing was the lower part of Dead Hill, where it's usually flooded.
Yeah.
I've worked on drainage and stuff down there, just trying to remediate some of that. So that's still kind of a work in process, but there's been some improvement.
So send me something on both of those.
Okay.
Good. All right, because usually every year the town has always asked for an annual report. But what I'm doing this year is I'm using the goals and projects of the year and what we accomplished. Now, one of the things that's so different from this report from the previous ones is in the past ones, we all had public hikes. We had 3rd graders, we had the 50K, we had all kinds of things going on in that area. And we just couldn't do those things because of the pandemic that we're involved with right at the present time. So that's the reason why we're doing it this way instead. All right.
Joe, regarding, you mentioned earlier on the clearing the brush over by the outdoor classroom area there that that Liz and Jody were working on. So they're continuing to do that. That still needs work, right?
They may have been here there just once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, that's something I would do. I could give Liz and I go back, and Jody, I think if it's Jody, Panilla O'Day, old Girl Scout leaders together along with Lori. I would give them a call and see if they want to come, because I'm sure Rich would help too. I mean, my Rich, get a few people together and keep working on that.
You got to hurry up and do it before I finish it.
Oh, you're working on it too? Oh, hey, knock yourself out. But Great, great. Okay.
One of the projects that we need to think a little bit about is that when we planted, Lori, how long ago was it, those pine trees? 13,
Oh,
14
I
years?
don't know.
they're
50
gorgeous. I didn't know it was you guys doing that. That's great.
They were
That was
at one point.
maybe even longer than 15 years ago.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful.
I used to tell the third graders that they are teenagers now, the trees.
Mm.
The bottom of each tree has branches that are like that far off the ground. Up, I like to see the bottoms trimmed up at least 2 feet so that we start seeing the grass underneath the trees. And right now, everything is so cluttered in there that it really is a problem. So what it needs is really either using one of those little hand saws to cut them or to use the loppers and cut them very close to the tree itself. But there's no rush on that. But that's something I think should happen at some point in time. Okay, anything else you guys want for tonight? Going through things pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we had talked about the pump track having trees cleared a while back.
Yes, yes.
And I'm hearing it in my other ear from the guys at the pump track, the guys through NEMBA, that they want to do a resurfacing of the pump track. So that would be like a $2,500 job to refinish the clay. So I told them that the order should be that we get the trees done first before we bring in, start paying money to fix something up and then have it get run over again. So I think that we should bring forward, bring that forward and say that if they are going to do tree work, they should do that first. And I'm all for, I mean, if these guys want to spend the money on doing the resurface, then that's great. But I just don't want to see it get spent and then ruined.
Mm.
Now, where are you suggesting the money for the 2,500 come from?
So NEMBA still has it in an account that we made for the pump track a while back, and we definitely saved that much, maybe maybe a little more, but it'd be silly to do it and then have to do it again.
Okay. Are you saying that the trees would be not part of their project, but it would be
Yeah, no, the trees would have to be
care
the
about?
town, but if we want to coordinate it so that we're getting up on closing it for the season, if they wanted to do it over the winter sometime, then we could coordinate. Maybe after that's done, you just don't feel as bad if it comes down and messes up a pile or something, and then when it's resurfaced, it can just be cleaned up.
How many trees, Jason?
At least a half a dozen, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Are they
it's
pretty
almost
big?
like all the trees.
Yeah, it's just a lousy situation with the fence there and with
Oh,
the trees coming down. If they land on the pump track trail, it's the weight of them is really going to put a dent in the,
yeah.
and it's going to knock things around. So really, it's going to take somebody that can climb the trees and rope them and then pull them away from the spot.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be completely clean either way. It's a tough gig to try to clean those up. But if they, and again, it's safety. We have all the people in there, and those trees are just haunting. They're dead and dry and come down in bits. So if they're going to do that work, they should do it first before we do the resurface.
All right. So do you and I both want to see Scott, or do you want to do your thing alone? What's your pleasure?
I guess I'll do it in one combined email. I'll send him the update after we've had our meeting, and under the heading of safety, that these are two things that we want to talk about.
Okay.
I don't know if there's other things that we also want to bring forward, but it sounds like those might be the only ones.
Well, I think we want to mention making certain that we get somebody that's an expert to do some of the invasives for us. There is a lab table at the outdoor classroom that needs a new top. And I think he said that he was going to get somebody to work on that. So there are a couple other things that could be added to the list.
Yeah, so we'll send a follow-up email. I'll send you my my two, and then I'll forward to you. You add your two, and then you can forward it to him.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
I just like a couple hours before the meeting, I forwarded you guys that comment that was from the neighborhood.
Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it.
I didn't.
I sorry, I didn't get you on the
Hey,
Oh,
somebody-
that's
distribution
why.
yet.
Okay. What did it say?
This is with the people failing to stop at the stop sign?
Yeah, and I don't know if I've noticed that as much, but maybe just people driving a little bit faster than
Yeah,
they
the
ought to.
people in
Oh,
neighborhood,
this-
the people in neighborhood drive too fast and go through stop signs too.
It's a plague in the
Right.
neighborhood. Is this people?
Not just
with
mountain
bikes or
bikers.
something?
Right.
Can't hear everybody.
Are we talking people with
An
bikes?
ongoing issue.
That's where the
Everyone
fingers
drives
got
fast.
pointed.
I'm gonna send a message out to the Facebook world and say that
Yeah,
it was brought to my attention. But you're right, it's everybody, but also like when you have the bikes up on your car,
Oh,
you're
yeah, they're
totally
target.
a target
Yeah.
for hearing about that, and it just doesn't look good. So, but you know what? That's if I was in the neighborhood, I would feel the same way. I wouldn't. I get so annoyed when I see people whipping around with their cars in a rush.
Mhm.
Slow down.
And
Hey,
it's
we
been
can-
particularly busy. It's been really, really busy up here.
Hey, just tell the Madison police to hang out for a little while.
I wish
They'll
they
prob-
would.
they'll-
Yeah.
They'll probably get a lot of tickets.
They used to do that. They used to sit
On
down
Cindy.
past the corner of Dorset and Devonshire, pointing, sort of down so that they were pointed towards Devonshire and could, catch folks as they were doing that.
It'd be funny is the person who wrote that email probably goes through the stop sign too.
No, but it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I guess she was worried about getting clipped a couple of times,
Yeah.
T-boned. So,
Yeah.
okay.
There is a lot of traffic. When I was out walking on Saturday, I enjoyed being on the backside of Dorset because it was very quiet, because there was just so much traffic between the neighbors who were extremely busy, and then all of the people coming up to mountain bike from the Renee's Way entrance. It was incredibly busy.
How crowded is it on a weekend, Jason, at Route 79 now?
How crowded?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even
Full.
go. I stay away on the weekend, but I know it's
Full.
completely packed in.
Oh.
yeah, they're parking out on the sides of the driveway going in, so that
Yeah, Saturday they were spilling out. They weren't parking on 79, but they were on the sides of the driveway going in.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see a little bit more parking added there. I think it's necessary.
Yeah, and Renee's Way doesn't have that much parking, so it's not a ton of traffic. I mean, there's over 100 houses in the neighborhood. There's room for 10 cars in that parking lot, so it's not the major problem. Not saying it's not a problem, but
Yeah, they are parking on the street at Renee's Way as well, but that's okay.
So Joe, let me ask you a question. Do you know if they did a survey of the Rockland Preserve there around the parking lot to determine, where the boundary was and where the activity was with regards to, all of the heavy equipment use?
They own right to that. They own right to the driveway.
Yeah, I think Scott was also concerned that maybe stuff was being dumped, not by the driveway, but, back closer to the shed and behind there, on Rockland property. There's still quite a bit of activity over there with regards to noise and equipment, but we haven't seen the chipper or anything lately.
Lori, have you seen in the past like 3 weeks since we talked last time that he put in like a whole like kind of parking area for his equipment, and he's used that and taken his equipment off of the public road, and
It's
now it's
back.
up back there, and it seems like he's got a system that kind of works.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means he's done.
I think
but
you're
it's definitely better.
but recently there's one of his, one large piece of equipment that's sitting out there in the cul-de-sac. And it's been there since Sunday, so
He's got another one. There's 2 up there now.
is there?
Yeah, there's a flat trailer and a cube trailer.
No. We can ask Scott if he has pushed it a little further. Because he said,
Why don't we just have it surveyed and put the line in? He's probably over the town property line.
I know he pushed all the brush that he was collecting, he pushed it into one big heap pile, and then he took wood chips and he piled on top of it so that it made it look a little bit more presentable to everybody. And, he was obviously trying to be a good neighbor in that regard, but sometimes he forgets to be a good neighbor. So,
I
well,
think the easiest thing to do is to survey it and put the line.
yeah. Yep. Okay.
The markers are probably there somewhere already.
Probably on the bottom of that mulch pile.
Yeah. 3 feet under.
Right. Anything else, guys? You guys don't want to quit.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Good.
Okay. Well, this has been good. We got some things that have to be pursued. We got 3 people here at least, Jason, to work with you on the rules.
Mhm.
I do think that we need to have a older, more obvious sign at both places, at Renee's Way and also down there at 79, so that people know what the do's and don'ts are, so that they don't get themselves into difficulty. And I think
North Gate too.
parking. I think it's a good thing. If you see something that you don't feel comfortable going and talking to the person about because they're breaking the law, just walk away and call the police department and let them do their job. That's what they're there.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's probably the right thing.
I don't see really why you need a playground, Jason, when he's got
Actually,
you.
Jason is a playground.
That's good. All right.